AEFL, American Elite Fantasy League.
My name's Trevor Freimeyer. Team name, Marshall Matters.
Justin Yates, team captain, Green Eggs and Cane.
Brandon Ultimus, the Paul Baker Dream Team.
Ethan Barr, team captain, former Child Stars.
Captain Tanner Guthrie, team Old Smuggler.
Tyler Boner, and I am the Raging Boners.
My name is
Ben Parker.
and I'm putting together a special team, and I need me 8 soldiers. 8 Jewish American soldiers. Once we're in enemy territory, as a bushwhacking guerrilla army, we're going to be doing one thing and one thing only.
Win football games.
The Sankey Legs, Adam Edwards.
Will Wetzel, helmet to helmet contact.
Jared Fichter, LFPB.
Chase Kraft, my Cobb, and your Bush, and your host, and our weekly review starts now. What's up, fellas? Welcome to Season 3, Week 10 of the AFL. And man, we are getting down close to the end of the season with only 3 weeks left. But getting into the games, I got the big win there against Sankey Legs, 120.6 to 78.5. The Raging Boners continue their hot streak as they pick up the big win over the falling Paul Baker's Dream Team. I think that's 6 losses in a row now for you, Brandon. 121.5 to 82.7. Liquor in the front, Poker in the back continues his winning ways this year, beating Grand Slam Breakfast Squad 127.1 to 80.9. Yeah, Green Eggs and Cam picking up another big win as he's now in 4th place into the playoffs there. Currently, that is, with 3 weeks left to go, getting the win over former Child Stars 153.3 to 97 points. Then you got helmet-to-helmet contact. Falling to Old Smuggler there in a big one, 168.2 to 105.2. And then Inglorious Bastards picking up another win. Like I said, watch out for them. They're the team to watch this year. No kidding, check it for yourself. They have scored the most points in the league and also have the most points scored against them. So if you put them middle in the pack with the points against, they might have one of the Ben might have one of the better records in the league. But they pick up the win there over Marshall Matters, 149.6 to 133.4. Now getting into the games, Edwards and I don't know what we were doing, but definitely not paying attention as both of us forgot to switch our defenses. I made the waiver wire move with Denver and then just forgot to set them in my lineup, where Edwards had their defense on a bye. Then Hawkins was out injured. And then you had Forte not getting very many points. And then for me, I was lucky enough to have Thomas take off, Ellington take off, and Fitzgerald give me big points. But it's going to be interesting about Fitzgerald going forward because his main man Carson Palmer's out and Stanton just doesn't throw the ball like Carson Palmer. So I might be screwed in the fact that now Allen Robinson's out for the year. So, and there's no one left on the waivers, just no one in the wide receiver position. So I might be screwed there. Looking at B and Tyler's game, B, I'm still surprised with Decker over, who is it, Roddy White. I like Roddy White just because he has Matt Ryan who can sling the ball instead of Michael Vick and Decker. So, interesting decision there. And then you had Morris on the bye, so you have to play Talafaro or whatever from Baltimore, so that forces your hand there, and he doesn't get very many points. And then Tyler, on your side, I'm just interested in hearing the whole Hoyer versus Stafford. Maybe it was just the matchup in general, but Stafford went on to score more points. I just like Stafford because he can sling the ball around a little bit better. He's always better fantasy-wise. And then you have Sanders and Matthews picking up big points, and then Greg Olsen as well. Yeah, he's been tearing it up all year besides maybe 1 or 2 weeks even. And then looking at Jared and Ish, man, I don't know what to tell you, dude. It sucks. I'm just kind of surprised overall with your teams. I think the Colts bye hurt you not having Bradshaw or Hilton. And then Holmes, you probably had to pick him up off of waivers and he gets you a big fat fucking 0, dude. It sucks, dude. But Hill doesn't do you very well. Jackson, I don't think, did you very well. Then you have Jared on the other hand. He has Darren Sproles returning fucking punts for touchdowns. West gets a touchdown there with Cleveland because they ran the ball like 50, 60 times that game. It was insane. And then you had Jordy Nelson just tearing up the Bears with my Randall Cobb. I mean, it was just, Nelson had 33 points, and the Bears defense gave up 6 touchdowns in the first half. So, I mean, what can you do, dude? And then Will and Tanner's game. Will, all I got to say is, man, what can he do, dude? I mean, when Tanner scores up that many points, he has that many players scoring over 20 points. He had 2 players even on his bench score over 20 points, so not much you can do there, Will. And then he had Gronk on the bench anyway. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're fine going into the final 3 weeks of the season, considering you have Gronk. And then, what else? The other guys, I can't remember everyone on your roster, but they're playing well overall. I mean, he scored 105 points, which beats most of the teams in the league this week. And then Yates and Barr. Yates, I got to hand it to you, man. GM of the year by far with all your pickups, which I think a little bit on the waiver wire is a little bit of luck depending upon where you are in the waiver order in regards to Denard Robinson. I think once everyone started seeing him pick it up, I think everyone was putting a waiver in on him. You were just lucky enough to get him. But then, honestly, who could have seen Forsett and Robinson being like some of the best backs in the league right now to have fantasy-wise? And then you throw in the Giants tight end that's been fairly good for you this year, and then your trades. I mean, now you're stuck. Like, what are you going to do? You're going to play Odell Beckham, AJ Green, who hasn't played great as of late, mostly due to injuries and the Cincinnati offense just sucking. Then you have Calvin Johnson back. I mean, you just have so many options, man. What are you going to do? And like we talked about earlier today, it's like one of those things where you're going to start someone and then it's going to end up being the guy on the bench who scores you more points. But you know, it's a good problem to have where Barr, you lost Carson Palmer for the rest of the year. Your running backs aren't putting up very many points. Des Bryant continues to be your hero. And then you have Harvin that's, you know, week to week, whether he's going to get you some legitimate points or not. So, Barr, if I'm you, you know, it's like I'm in the playoffs, but how far can I go in the playoffs? That's the question. And then you have Ben and Trevor. Ben, like I said, man, you're the team to fear. I mean, Cook, your tight end, gets you 16 points, and the Buffalo D gets you 11. That without those 2 players who usually probably don't get you that many points, which, I mean, you've been playing Russian roulette with your defenses all year, and it's paid off really well for you. So, I mean, kudos to you. Where Trevor, I mean, I think the Cincinnati D and Vernon Davis just fucked you over. I mean, if Vernon Davis doesn't get you one and the Cincinnati D doesn't allow the Cleveland Browns to run all over them Thursday night, I think you pick up this win, and you needed that win, as I don't think you're within the top 4 of the playoffs right now. So, Trevor just basically came down to the fact that those 2 players sucked it up for you, while Ben was lucky enough on the other end to have Cook score him 16 and a Buffalo defense get him 11 points. But, I mean, what can you do? But for now, fellas, let's get into this week's hard hit of the week.
I guarantee you he's feeling a rib injury.
All right, this hard hit of the week has to go to Trevor. I mean, I thought about Edwards and the fact of the bye week with the defense and Forte not scoring many points and Hawkins not playing. But I feel like Trevor just got a little bit more unlucky in the fact that Davis doesn't put up points. Cincinnati defense, you think they'd be able to stop Cleveland a little bit better, especially since they're playing at home. I would have made the same move if I was in Trevor's part. And then you throw in the fact that he gets Ben, who's been on a roll the last couple of weeks. But then Ben basically, I think, gets the advantage here in the win because he gets, like I said earlier, 16 points out of Cook, which never happens in St. Louis. And then a Buffalo D that gets you 11. I mean, Buffalo's D's respectable, but 11 points. Even I'm surprised. I would expect Cincinnati's defense to get more points than the Bills. So for this week, Trevor, you are the hard hit of the week. And now let's get into next week's schedule. All right, gentlemen, looking into the Week 11 matchups, it looks like I'll be taking on the Grand Slam Breakfast Squad, as I am now 6-4, and each there is 3-7. You got the 4-6 Paul Baker's Dream Team looking to snap their losing ways against the ever so mighty 7-3 Old Smuggler. The Sankey Legs there at 2-8 take on the even 500 5-5 former Child Stars, while you have the 4-6 Green Eggs and Cam looking and needing a much-needed win against the 8-2 Liquor in the front, Poker in the back. He needs that win to stay within that 4th spot for the playoffs. Then you have Marshall Matters at 3-7 taking on the Roommate at 7-3 there, the Raging Boners. And then you have the 6-4 Helmet Contact playing the very tough and the very hot team right now, the 5-5 and Glorious Bastards. And for you assholes, that is our Week 11 matchups. All right, cocksuckers, that was Week 11 scheduled there. I mean, like already said a couple different times, we got 3 weeks left, and we're starting to see, the playoffs take a little bit of form. I think Edwards still has an outside shot, so it'll be interesting how that breaks down. And Trevor, you as well, man. You as well. Even though you made the most ridiculous fucking trade I've ever seen in my fantasy life, why you would propose that has me just mind-boggle. I guess you enjoy being trade raped, but, to each their own. But fellas, as always, I'll talk with you later. Fuck you.
Alley Cat Production.